The smaller one.
Okay.
Oh, you got it during the sale. I went back online. Yeah. It's still on sale? Oh, because I went on the site. I didn't see it.
We're going to start.
Free shipping?
Bais on the Bais on the bottom. Second to bottom line. Bais on the Bais on the bottom. It says, Hi Tamei, the Tamei b'mai. So, welcome back. We learned in the Mishnah a lechatchila and a b'diavad. We said hakol sheichten, everyone can shecht, and if they shecht, it's kosher. So we said that was a contradiction. So, because hakol sheichten means that they're allowed to shecht. Lechatchila, then so why does it say shchitas ksheira, that it's kosher? Of course it's kosher. Yeah. So that's, the Gemara considered that a contradiction. Sit here until, and then,
So basically, according to the Gemara, the Mishnah is contradicting itself from the get-go.
Right.
The first 4 words.
Right. So Rabbi bar Ula gave a teretz. Rabbi bar Ula gave a teretz. He said that Hakol Sheichtim is talking about someone that's tamei. He's allowed to shecht chulin. And Shchitas and Ksheira is talking about someone that's tamei, is not allowed to shecht kachim because we're afraid he might touch it. But if he shechted it, it's kosher if he says bari li shlei nagati. So that's the b'diavad. The b'diavad is the tamei touching kachim, and the lechatchila is a tamei shechting.
You said it again. So sheichten means what, and then shchitas and ksheira.
The lechatchila was shechting a tamei, someone tamei shechting chulin, which is allowed to be tamei. But this person happened to be strict, and he's going to do chulin al taras hakodesh. So we tell him that okay, there's certain laws about that, but shchita he can do, and we explain that it's with a long knife. However, tamei shechting kachim, that lechatchila he can't do, but b'diavad it's kosher. Okay. The Gemara says, Hi Tamei di Tamei b'mai. This one that was Tamei, how did he become Tamei? Again, second to the bottom line on the base on the base. Eily di itmei b'meis. If we say that he touched a dead body, there's levels of tumah. I'm going to read this Gemara again in a moment to show you that there's a different version here, different text. There's 2 ways but the first one is the itmei b'meis. He touched a dead body, and the dead body is called the avi avos tumah. It's like a grandfather of tumah. What does he become when he touches it? He becomes a father. What does he touch next? The knife. And the knife would be called a first one. However, we're going to see shortly that that's not accurate.
How does it go, Rabbi? You touch the
dead body is called the avi avos.
Right.
The one that touches it is called the av. What he touches is usually a rishon, which is called a child, and what touches the rishon is called a sheni. And that's usually as far as it goes, unless we're dealing with kachim and truma, which goes to shlishi and revi. But usually, for regular chulin, it goes till sheni. So the problem is, if he touched the dead body, so he becomes a avatuma. And we have a verse that says, B'chalal cherev. If someone touches B'chalal cherev, b'meis, if he touches a corpse that was killed by a sword, Amar Rachmana, that's what it says, the Ibn says in the pasuk. And we have a drasha that cherev hariyel kachalal. There's an exception to the rule of going down a level by each thing that it touches. The exception is, according to Rashi, mateches, a metal utensil that touches, let's say in this case, a metal utensil that touched the avatama will remain an avatama. Usually it would, something that touches an avatama becomes a rishon. But because of the pasuk, chalal cherev, and it adds the word cherev.
So it becomes like
cherev means a sword. All it needed to say is is a corpse. They need to say the sword. It says the sword right next to. It's coming to tell me that it has the same status as the corpse, possibly, or the one that touched the corpse. So Rashi is going to actually learn that it's only on a avi avaisa tuma that the sword will become a avi avaisa tuma and an avatuma. It doesn't go further than a according to Rashi. If a rishon touches a sword, it doesn't remain a rishon. It doesn't work like that. That's Rashi says that. Rashi says a rishon can't make a keli tamei, and it doesn't matter if it's mateches. But we're saying here that the corpse is the avi avos. The person touched the corpse, he's an avatuma. He touches a sword, the sword remains an avatuma. Okay. Avatumahu. So the knife here, I said sword, I should have said a knife. He touches a knife that he's using for shchita, so avatumahu l'tamei sakin. He touches the knife and the knife becomes tamei, the same, it's an avatuma. V'asal sakin l'tamisi l'basar. Then the sakin will touch the meat. So why are you saying that someone that's tamei is allowed to shecht because he's not going to touch the meat? And we're going to ask him later. It doesn't matter if he touches the meat. He touches the sword becomes tamei. The sword touches the meat's tamei. Rashi says that this whole Gemara is really not necessary because he says, if you see the first of the skinny lines, if you see Rashi, it's anyways tummy. Why? Rashi says like this. Let's say we don't say he touches the dead body. He becomes an avatama. He touches the sword. The sword becomes a rishon latama. The sword. I said sword. I keep saying sword. I mean knife. He touches the knife. The knife becomes a rishon latama, and then the rishon latama touches the meat. Food becomes a sheni. So I don't need this whole gemara of keeping the knife at the level of
Rishon means av. That's the same.
No.
Wait,
and a rishon means the first of the children.
Oh, I'm sorry, I'm confused now.
Touches the dead body.
Oh, okay.
That's the avi avos. He becomes an av. He touches a knife. The knife becomes a rishon. The rishon touches the meat. That becomes a sheni.
Okay.
Now, so according to Rashi, all of this is not necessary. There's a way of resolving Rashi if you have a different girsa here. That instead of ilema the itmei, the mace, if you would read it ilema the itmei bitmei mace. That he touched someone that touched the dead body. Takes us down a level. He becomes a rishon. If we don't say cherev hareo kachalal, then the knife becomes a sheni, and you can't. A knife can't become a sheni. But if I say cherev hareo kachalal, then the knife becomes a rishon, and rishon can make a sheni. So I would need that. Why doesn't Rashi do this? Rashi holds I don't say cherev hareo kachalal by a rishon.
The cherev will always get the tumah above it?
Yeah, it always gets the tumah of whatever it touches.
From the pasuk, it doesn't sound like that.
Yeah, but the pasuk I only know by avi avos. I only know it by avi avos. But Rashi extends it. Rashi says it's extended to the avatuma. According to other rishonim, it's extended until it goes further, even to a rishon latuma. And therefore, if you have a different girsa, you can say cherev hareo kachalal even on the child of tumah. And therefore, he's a rishon. He touches the knife, it becomes a rishon, and the knife will touch the meat. It will be a sheni, which will make it tummy. So that's the question.
Can you imagine if this applied to making coffee on Shabbos morning? We'd be so confused. Can I make the coffee naked?
There is one instance that's comparable to coffee. That's the ladle. You know, the ladle. If you stick it in, it could be it stays. I'm making a comparison. That's not halachic, but it's okay. Ella, rather, the itmei b'sheretz. We're not talking about that he touched a dead body. We're not talking about tumas meis. Tumas meis has these halachas of cherev hareo kachalal. It's going to make the meat tamei. We're talking about that he touched the sheretz, which is a
live sheretz.
Sheretz. They're dead.
Oh.
And he became.
Is it tummy?
Yeah, it's a rishon. It's not avi avos. It's a rishon. So I'm sorry, it's an av. He touches the sheretz. Right. He becomes a rishon. Very good teretz. Okay. V'iba yasema. If you want, I can say la'olam de'itmei b'meis. Really, he touched a mace. Well, we had a problem before, because if he touched a mace, then the knife becomes tamei. And but we're talking about that he used a wooden knife. He took a reed, I guess a thick reed, and he sharpened it, and he shechted with the reed. Now we have a rule that wood becomes tamei only if it's a receptacle. But pshute kliates, anything that's straight, that doesn't have any flat wood, doesn't become tamei. So, that was our Mishnah's discussion. He's shechting with a wooden knife, and he's saying that he didn't touch the meat. That's how it would work. The Tanya, as it says in the Bais, you can shecht with anything, whether it's a tzur is like a flint, a rock, or with glass, or krumas shalkana, or with a reed, a wooden knife.
This is for kachim or for regular shechit?
Big discussion about if kachim, if you can use a kli cher. We're actually discussing, the Mishnah has two cases. The Mishnah is discussing hakol sheichtim chulin, even if he's tamei, shchitasen ksheira if it was kachim. B'diavad, it's how would you do this? You would have to go on to those opinions. This is a discussion in Tosfos. You would have to go according to opinions that the sakin is not a klisharis, and there was a whole discussion.
So you can make the wood sharp enough to shech. You could go ahead and put.
Yeah, I don't know the different woods, but I bet they say bamboo you can do anything with. I assume they can figure out something. Okay. They have these woods, all different type of wood that you can do.
What if the knife had on the handle made out of wood?
Some of the interesting, the Rishonim discuss. Let's say if you have something that's very long, so then it's yadais of if it's something that's very long, so the tumah doesn't extend because that part you would have cut off. I don't know if you see it in the Mishnayos. A very long handle that you didn't finish making, you didn't cut off the end, or you meant to cut off, so that part wouldn't be matam. The Gemara could have answered that.
But if you have a wooden handle, does that transfer the tumah?
The Mishnah says yadei sakelim is kekela.
Even if it's wood.
It's a discussion about what the status of it, what it becomes.
Can you kasher a shechet knife once it became tamei, like a regular?
Yeah, in the mikveh.
The same way.
Yeah, any kelim you put in the mikveh, except for earthenware. Okay, so we have a nice teretz here from Rabbi Bar Ula, the pshat in the Mishnah. It's talking about someone that's tamei. We have a lechatchila, we have a b'diavad. We have two possibilities of how it became tamei. Of how he became tamei, either b'meis or b'sheretz. If it's b'meis, then he used the wooden knife. Abaye Amar Hachik Tani. Abaye has another pshat. This is what the Mishnah means. Again, we had a contradiction. Hakol sheichtin means you're allowed to shech. Shchitas and ksheira means that if you shecht it, it's okay. Hakol sheichtin va'afilu kuti.
Wow.
Even a kuti is allowed to shecht. Now we have a machlekes alter shas if the kutim are geirei emes, if they're actually converted, or geirei arayas if they're converted because of the lions.
Doesn't Rashi say this in the first one in the Mishnah or somewhere? Oh, you guys saw it in Kuti, Kuti or Mumar. Oh, that's something else, right?
No, this is our Gemara. Well, we're going to go through this. So it could be even a kuti. We're talking about that the kutim are geirei emes, that they're Jewish. The only thing is we have to recognize here that even though they're geirei emes, but they didn't keep certain halachas. They didn't keep, and we'll see. When is a kuti allowed to shecht lechatchila kish Yisrael oimed al gabav? According to Abaya, you have to have a mashgiach standing there watching him. Aval yotze v'nichnas, but if he's just a mashgiach that's yotze v'nichnas, that means he comes in and out. The mashgiach tmidi is meant he's supposed to be standing there. This is just the yotze v'nichnas. Lo yeshchet, he shouldn't shech. That's Abaya's opinion. V'im shachat, but if he did shech, now we're going to the b'diavad. So chaytich kazayas basar, you cut a piece of meat off the animal, V'nais and and you give it to him to eat. You give it to the kuti to eat. Achlai, if he ate it, then mutter lechel mishchitase. Then we can trust them. It's like with the poison. Taste it first, and then so then you can eat it. La yachlo, but if he doesn't eat from it, then asa lechel mishchitase. Now the explanation for this is as follows: that there's a pasuk in front of a blind person you can't put a stumbling block. Chazal tell us that lifnei v'leisit michshol is all a imagery. It doesn't actually mean in front of a blind person. In front of a blind person, you can't put a stumbling block for other reasons. But it could be that even if you put a stumbling block in front of a blind person, it could be you didn't even violate lifnei v'leisit michshol. They learn lifnei v'leisit michshol has two other meanings. You can't give someone bad advice. An iver means he's blind in his knowledge, and you can't make him stumble by giving him bad advice. That's one. But with that, over here we're discussing something else. They learn that lifnei v'leisit michshol is you can't assist someone doing an aveira. You can't assist. It's not just misayeh. You can't cause someone to do an aveira. You're giving him. It's a spiritual stumbling block in front of a blind person. So the kutim don't hold of that. They say that they keep kosher, so they're going to shecht properly. But they don't care to feed another Jew non-kosher because they don't hold of that drush of lifnei v'leisit michshol. Say it's no problem for them. It's his problem. So what do? You have the meat that's shechted. So if he shechted and you weren't standing on top of him to make sure that it's kosher, so you have a solution. You cut a piece of meat. You see, if he eats it, then it's kosher, and then you'll be allowed to eat from it. Okay. Let's continue in the Mishnah. Chutz mecheir sheita v'katan. I just want to point out that we had a lechatchila here. You have to stand there, and you had a b'diavad. Is if you weren't there, then you can feed it to him. Tosfos on the next page discusses that why can't lechatchila you just feed him all the meat and then you let him shecht and you don't have to be there. So Tosfos says you may forget to feed it to him. So lechatchila you always have to be there. That's the chutz mecheir sheita v'katan, except for someone that's can't hear and can't speak. That's the cheirish sheita. Someone that's can't think or whatever the Gemara Chagiga says shait is, he sleeps in the cemetery, all those things, or a child. That even b'diavad you can't allow him to you can't have the shchita, you can't eat from it. Shema yishu, shema yidrusu, shema yachlidu. Maybe he'll pause during the shchita, maybe he'll chop. He'll use shchita in a chopping motion. Shema yachlidu, maybe he'll insert the knife and cut the second one before the first one.
What is yidruso meaning again?
Drusa is to chop.
Okay.
V'kulan sheshachtu ahei, or ahai. All of them that shechted, if someone was standing on top of them, it's kosher. That's the third part of the Mishnah. Kulan sheshachtu imachirim rayanaisan or imachirim rayanaisan shchitasan ksheir. What's that talking about? If all the shechted. Eily ma'achir. Who's the all of them? Eily ma'achir sheita v'katan. If you say it's talking about the cheir sheita v'katan, alakai. That's what we're talking about. V'im shachtu mi ba'ilay. And if they shechted, it should have said. In other words, it doesn't have to repeat and say in all of them. That's exactly who we're talking about. Ella akuti. It must be going back on the original case. We're talking about akuti. That you need to have someone standing there and watching them. Ha'amrit kish Yisrael eimen al gaba shachar afilu lechatchila. The third case of the Mishnah, the Machim Rayanaisan, so then Shchitasan Ksheira is a B'diavad. We said that Hakal Sheichtim was a kuti with someone standing there. The Machim Rayanaisan is someone standing there. So why are you telling me B'diavad it's good? The beginning of the Mishnah said it Lechatchila it's good. It can't be a kuti. Kasha, you have a question? Okay, it's a nice attempt. And it still is a valid answer. It's just we have one part of the Mishnah that doesn't get resolved. And we'll see later, we'll come back to that. Amar Rava. Rava has one issue with Abaya. Why did you say that he needs to be Yomi Dal Gabav? That he has to be standing there? Even if it's Yetzer V'Nechnas, that should be good enough. And it was taught in the Mishnah. Haminiach Oivet Kechavim B'Chanusei. If someone has a wine store, and he leaves a guy in the store. The Yisrael Yaitze V'Nichnas, and there's a Jew that's coming in and out. Mutter. That's good enough. Why did you say he needs to be standing there? It's good enough for Yaitze V'Nichnas. The Gemara says, Hasa miktani miniach. Miniach would mean a person is allowed to leave a guy there. It doesn't say miniach. Ha miniach ktani. It says someone that left a guy there. Doesn't mean lechatchila. It means b'di'evet. Di'evet. That means di'evet. It means that it happened. Ha miniach. Someone that left a guy there. We say that it's permissible because he's Yaitze V'Nichnas. So Abaya is still accurate that it needs to be standing there. Rabbi says, 1 second, there's another case. The one that's guarding the wine doesn't need to be sitting there the whole time. Even though he's coming in and out, it's permissible. Now here it started off with saying, Ein hashomer tzara. He does not need to, so it's clear that it's lechatchila. He doesn't need to be sitting there. Rather, he just needs to be going in and out. That's not saying if he went in and out, it's good. It's he doesn't need. So it's clearly lechatchila that a Yaitze V'Nichnas is satisfactory. Elam Rava, so rather Rava says, I'll tell you exactly like Abai. I'm just going to change one detail. Hachiktani, hakol sheichtem. Everyone can shecht afilu kuti, even a kuti, a Samaritan. Bamed dvarim amurim. When do we say this? Because Yisrael Yaitze V'Nichnas. This is the amendment of Rava. Right. That. Even if the Jew, when do we say this? If the Jew is going in and out, that would be permissible. But if you come and you find that he's shechted already, then you have to cut off the piece of meat, and give it to him. If he ate it, then it's permissible. So you can eat from his shchita. If he doesn't eat it, so then you can't eat from his shchita because could be he himself wouldn't have eaten it, so it's not kosher.
How do we trust him on his kashrus but on his shchita?
We trust him on his shchita, but because he's not eating from it, he doesn't have any problem.
No, but what if he eats the meat? Who says if we don't trust him on his shchita, why do we trust him on his kashrus?
No, we trust him that he keeps his laws, that he keeps the laws of shchita. The only thing is we don't trust him that he's going to be careful about feeding it to someone else. He has no problem feeding non-kosher things that weren't shechted properly to other people.
Other Jews?
Don't go to
other Jews.
So how is he a yid internally? He shows that he's not.
Because
originally their acceptance was correct, Geri Emes. However, we don't trust them on certain certain ways. The rabbis translated psukim.
Doesn't he only eat kashrus?
Yeah, he only eats kashrus.
So that's the answer. Because if he won't eat, then obviously you can't trust it to meat kosher. But if we don't test him with that, he would give us some egg, but he doesn't really care.
You follow? Look, this is not a perfect example, but certain hachsherim, they're not so careful with, they themselves, on their own, they're not so careful with chalav Yisrael. Because they eat chalav stam. But they have certain things that are chalav Yisrael. So they would always say that their chalav Yisrael you have to be careful with, because they're willing to eat. You have to know if they're makpid on chalav Yisrael 100%, then they're going to make sure that it's 100%. So here, it's not like here. The kuti is very careful, but he's not careful about what he's going to serve. So you have to make sure that he's going to eat it. If he won't eat it, then you can't eat it. That's the. So now let's go further. Chutz mi cheir sheita v'katan, except for the cheir sheita v'katan. Dafilu di'eva nami loy, that even b'di'eva they can't shecht. Why? Shami yishu, shami yidjusu, shami yachlidu. Maybe they'll make one of those mistakes in the shchita. And v'kulan sheshachtu ahei. Now we're up to the end of the Mishnah. It says if any of these shechted, if other people are watching them, it's going to be permissible. Which cases are we talking about? If we say it's a cheir sheita v'katan, alakai, that's who we were talking about. You don't have to say v'kulan in all of them. You just say, and if. V'im shachtu mi boilet, should have just said it, and if they shechted. Ella akuti, you must be going back on the kuti, the original case. Here it's even worse. Here, according to Rava, lechatchila, you only have to go in and out. And he can shech lechatchila, a kuti. Can shech The end of the Mishnah says, in all of them, if they shechted, if someone is standing and watching them, then it's kosher. You don't need to be standing and watching them. You only need to be going in and out. It can't be talking about a kuti. It's even worse than in Abaya. In Abaya we said, if you're standing on top, then lechatchila you can shech. And v'im kulan shachtu is b'di'evid. Now we're saying it's even more. It's not just lechatchila that you can shecht if someone's there. Lechatchila you can shecht even if he's not there, but he's going in and out by a kuti. So kasha.
That's the sefer.
The sefer.
Yeah.
So okay, we have a question on this. A nice pshat. It's a little bit more lenient than Abaya's, but it doesn't explain the last piece. Rav Ashi Amar Hachik Tani. Rav Ashi says this is the pshat in the Mishnah. We had already 3 pshat in there.
So this is
Rabbi
pshat
Barula. This is pshat number 4, and we're not done. Abaya says this is what it means. Hakol sheichtem. Everyone can shecht afil Yisrael mumar, even if it's a Jew that transgresses. It's like not religious. And
That's how the translation of it is in the Mumar.
yeah, we'll see. There's different types of mumma. Let's see. Mumma lamai. What type of mumma is he? Lechel nevelos l'teyavan. He eats non-kosher. But why does he eat non-kosher? Because l'teyavan. Because there was no other food, so that's what I ate. I had to. There was no other food. Not like he's in spite.
Or meat. Non-kosher meat specifically.
Here it says in the Velas. So you would have a problem here with his shchita. He doesn't keep. He doesn't keep the kosher, these kosher laws, but he doesn't do it lahachis. He doesn't do it. If he has kosher, he's going to eat kosher. It's just he has this excuse that I didn't have what to eat, so I ate it. And if he doesn't, he won't go out of his way to resolve it. Ukedirava, and it goes according to Rav. It's very interesting that Rav Ashi is now using Rava's logic to explain this when Rava had a different interpretation, as we'll see at the end. The Amar Rava says Yisrael Mumar, a Jew that transgresses Eichel Nevel Slatiyavan. What type of transgression? That he eats nevela, that means meat that's not shechted. L'tiyavan, because out of desire, Baidik Sakin, what you can do is you can check his knife. Because you have to check that the knife doesn't have a nick. You have to make sure it's a kosher knife. V'naisinla, you give him the knife. How can
you eat if he didn't do trisah or dvarim kaele she'af echad אי אפשר לדעת? רק הוא עצמו.
Very good, very good. This is Taisvus. Taisvus says he's not going. If he has the ability to do a kosher shechita, he for sure wants to do the shechita kosher. If his knife is good, he's for sure going to do it properly.
Why?
Because he tries to be religious.
He's not religious.
He's a mumma l'teyavan. He tries to do everything religious. It just it's hard.
So why we don't trust him on the quality of the knife? That's
interesting. That's interesting. It could be because that's already a big deal. If Tal was here, he would tell us that to get the knife it could take you many hours. So if you have a good knife, right, it wasn't easy to get the knife perfect. They sit over there on the stone. So if he has a good knife, if you did not check a knife and give it to him, so lo yishchad, you shouldn't check. Let's say he did shech. What's going to be the b'di'evid here, right? If he shechted already, then boidek sakina acharav. After the shechita, you can check the knife. Now this is not perfect. We're going to need to be extra strict here. Why? Because after the shechita, it's possible that the knife becomes puzzles from the shechita. But we're going to be strict anyway. If the knife is no good, nimtza sakino yafa. If the knife is good after the shechita, then mutalechel mishchita. So then for sure you can eat from it because it was done properly. The imlav, but if it wasn't good afterwards, then asalechel mishchita. So you're not allowed to eat from the shechita. So that's the b'di'evid. You're allowed to have a Yisrael Mumar shecht, hakol sheichtim. Everyone can shecht as long as you give him the knife. If he shechted and you didn't give him the knife, then shchitasik sheira if you check the knife and it's kosher. That's the lechatchila and the b'di'evid of the Mishnah.
Could you go that one more time?
Yeah. Hakol sheichtim, everyone's allowed to shecht. Who are we? Who are we including? Yisrael Mumar.
Right.
If, and we have a condition that if you gave him the knife, a valid knife.
You checked it.
You checked it. If he checked it and without you giving him the knife, so then you check Shchitas Kshera if you check the knife afterwards and it's still kosher.
Okay.
Chutz micher shayte v'katan, except the cher shayte v'katan, they're not allowed to shecht. Dafilu di even nami lai, even if they shechted, it's no good. Shami yishu, shami yidrusu, shami yachlidu. Maybe they made those mistakes of chopping or pausing in the middle. The end of the Mishnah, who's it talking about? If anyone shechted, if you have someone that's standing there, it's going to be valid. So we're going to go through. Eily machir shayte v'katan. If we're talking about a cher shayte v'katan, alakai, that's who we're talking about. The language v'kulan in all of them was not necessary. V'im shachtam ibayalei. It should just say, if they shechted, it's valid. Ella a Yisrael Mumar. Rather, it must be talking about a Yisrael Mumar. We're going back to the beginning of the Mishnah, which means a Jew that transgresses. Ida badak saken v'naisan lai. If you check the knife, sahamrit sheichet l'chatchila. He said that you can
Do
l'chatchila.
So what's the kol sheshachta?
So what does it mean that you needed to stand on top of the? If you stand on top of them, the evidence kosher. Ella delay bada. Rather, it must be that you didn't check the knife. And now, the isa l'saken, live the K. If the saken is there, if the knife is there, so why don't you check it? Live the K hashta, check it now, which is what we said. The lesa l'saken, and if the knife is not there, so how would the Mishnah help? How would the case of the Mishnah? Ki acherim rayin, I say, my havi. If other people are watching him, what's the difference if they're watching him? Dilma b'saken puguma shachat. Maybe they watched him shecht with a knife that's no good. He's shechting, he does the right thing, but we don't know if the knife is good, because that's the hard part, to get the knife good. So, what does it, if the knife isn't there, what does it help that people were standing there?
How can you trust a person like this?
We're not trusting that person. We're trusting a Yisrael Eichan Nevelis L'Teyavan, a Jew that would eat not kosher if he doesn't have anything available.
Yeah, sorry.
Let me tell you, kasha. So this is a question. There's this fellow that would come and he publishes svarim, and he sent me a beautiful sefer. It's about wine, kosher wine. It was written by a rabbi in Omaha, Tzvi Hirsch Grudzinski. Anyway, it was written at the turn of the century. He was a cousin of Reb Chaim Meiser. He was. Anyway, it's a tremendous Talmud Chacham. He came from Europe. He just was in Omaha. So, so he writes over there regarding non-religious Jews with wine. So he goes through different categories of non-religious Jews. He says there are those that go to shul in the morning. I don't remember exactly all the details, but he liked